Hi everyone, welcome to first official episode of Vlogs in the Maze. Welcome in my garage. After long thought, figured it would be most appropriate if the first episode would be shared would be my own story, and thank you everyone for watching. Not the best talking to the camera, so I'll try my best to describe what happened and how it's going and all that involved. So let's start with saying it happened in 2022 in June. I've been accused of domestic violence. These accusations were purely made for purpose of having advantage in child custody battle, which was thought in advance and prepared by my ex-partner. Everything what I say is to my best knowledge, and as long as I don't say it's I'm assuming that, or I'm speculating. I do have evidence for all my claims. So previous to the incident, we've been in a relationship for about 9 years. We met in Sydney through the dating app. We are both immigrants, so I'm not Australian. As you can hear, I'm not Australian born, so I'm an immigrant. She's an immigrant, and the time when we met, shortly after, she disclosed to me that she's been illegally in Australia, and we tried to sort things out. And after living together in Sydney for a while, then we moved to Adelaide, and where I eventually got my permanent residency and citizenship, which is going to be almost 10 years ago. Well, anyway, that's about it. History, and we had a child, a boy, and at the time of the incident, he was 4 years old. So leading to this incident, there was many red flags. Learned some terms in recent years, so it was definitely coercive control, emotional and psychological manipulation from the mother's side. Obviously, she did accuse me of the same thing, and perhaps we get to these laws in the other, my issue with these laws in the next or future episodes. I won't go into details here now. But yeah, the relationship wasn't ideal. I did suggest it many times we separate, which I was threatened by her that I will uh, regret the decision and I will never see my son again, which at that time I thought it's not really how it works, almost impossible, but looking back, it's more than possible, so just be aware of that, people. So I won't go too much into detail what happened. It happened on Wednesday evening. After me and my son came back, I picked him up from childcare. Um, the mother wasn't at home, and about 6 o'clock it was. We started making dinner for us, or I started making dinner for us, and she came home shortly after with a very bad attitude and very unhappy just from looking at her. And immediately she's starting to demand that our son has to have a shower because she heard some coughing. And mind you, he was 4 years old, 6 o'clock, and she's demanding he's going to have a shower and go to bed. He just came from childcare. He was maybe running around, nothing. Usual childcare called. Anyway, and she started told her to wait for the dinner. It was very close to finishing. She refused. She grabbed him by hand and dragged him to the bathroom. He refused. They went back and forth. I was sitting on my table, on the kitchen table. And again, I told her to wait for dinner. And she still was badging. And in the time, because we had lots of fights before, verbal fights, not physical fights. We had lots of arguments before, and I felt that something could happen and she could turn it against me, especially with how things go in Australia. There's lots of vilifying of men here happening, and prior to that, a couple of months before that, I downloaded a recording app on my phone, and that app triggers. It has to run, but it records only when a certain threshold of decibel reached, and then the app starts recording. And if there's a quiet period, it stops and then starts again. So I had that app on my phone, and luckily I start at that point. I turn it on, and just for those who are from other states, I think only SA, maybe some other. I'm not in. I know in New South Wales it's not legal, but in South Australia, if you are afraid of the crime, if you're afraid that a crime's being committed and you want to make a recording for your own safety, you're allowed to record other person without consent in domestic environment, not talking public. I don't think that's possible in New South Wales, which again, not right. Not gonna go into it today. So I start recording, and she dragged him to the bathroom. It was just a couple of meters away. Start undressing him, start pulling the clothes of him and screaming he doesn't want to. In that moment, I stepped into the bathroom and say again, stop doing that. We don't we're not gonna have a shower now. We gonna have dinner, and then we can shower. She started yelling at me that it's not gonna be my way, and it's always my way, which I think was pretty reasonable. Even looking back, years back, still probably done the same thing. And I tried to um, get my son out of the situation, so he was there for the whole time and witnessing everything, and just try to grab him and remove him from the situation. And as he was standing behind her, she pushed me away. I tried to grab him again. She smashed me in my face. It wasn't a punch, it was probably a slap, but my glasses flew off into the bathtub and broke. So it was significant. She started attacking me. So I had to restrain her. There was no really, yeah, I had to grab her hand and her arm and restrain her. And at that point, my son was starting to scream. It was very intense. He started to scream, "Oh, Daddy, don't do it!" And in that moment, you have just, oh my God, what's happening? It all took 10 seconds, and I left the bathroom. She locked herself up in the bathroom and called the police. I could hear through the door that our son wanted to be rather with me than he was asking for me than be in the bathroom, but she didn't let him out. And I see the bag down on the table. I hear her talking to cops. They come maybe in half an hour, and when they come, I open the door. She was still in the bathroom with our son. They start questioning me. I told them my side of story. She told them her side of story. I was outside. She was in the bathroom. They took the pictures, and they've decided to take me to cop shop for the night. So they actually handcuffed me. Took my phone, which by the time I forgot about all the other. I forgot it was even recording, and yeah, I took my house keys, my broken glasses, and went to cop shop with them. Um, I made sure that they record everything when they were questioning me at the door. Uh, Funny enough, something happened with that recording. Later, when we had a trial, they could not play the recording. So anyway, and and they took me to cop shop in Adelaide, where they pressed charges of aggravated assault. Obviously, they didn't believe my side of the story, and probably even if they do believe my side of the story, they still would try to remove me from the situation, and leave them out with the kid in the house, which is fair enough. And yeah, they just issued me intervention order. So for you in the other state, I think it's for ABO. Here's for intervention order. Which stated that I cannot go within 100 meters to my property, cannot go within 100 meters of the ex-partner. It did not have any limitation on our child. There was limitation for I could not leave the state. I had to surrender my passport. And I could contact the other party in regards to well-being of our child. So I could message her regarding our son. Anyway, they kept me in a cop shop for overnight. I think they offered me bail, but I could not go back home, and I really didn't want to call mates, and didn't feel like really calling mates and staying over at somebody. So they kept me overnight in the cop shop, and then the next day they actually transferred me to a prison. So it was Thursday morning. During a day, they transferred me to a city prison where I stayed until the Friday evening, where I was released. Through the time, uh, surreal, surreal feeling for somebody who come across the police in a breath testing, or something. We never had any issues with police, never had any criminal conviction or anything. So it's a very surreal feeling to be handcuffed and placed in the jail and strip search, then later being transported to actual prison, being issued prison clothing, and prison food. It's which I have to say wasn't bad. I could live on that. I'm not surprised some homeless people would rather go to prison than stay on the street because it was alright. But I was there just one night, so that's not really his experience, but nothing to compare to years. Anyway, so I was released on Friday evening. Prior to that, the court decided the best for me would be to stay in accommodation for, how to call it, men with issues. And the accommodation is located in Port Adelaide. It's called the Arches. I believe it's a lifesaver for some people. I'm not sure what I would do if such a facility doesn't exist. Very nice environment. It's building full of single bedroom apartment where you can stay for 1 month for a reasonable rent compared to normal rent prices. So you can stay there up to 1 month until you don't solve all your problems and move on. So in that time, the had to start look for a lawyer. Never had to look for a lawyer before. Um, Start reading up, doing lots of research. Yeah, and actually that night on Friday night, I was issued an ankle bracelet, so I was under home detention, which was another surreal surreal moment when you're on the ankle bracelet as you're pretty much a criminal. It's people say innocent until found guilty. I'm not sure if it's just an American thing to say, but I've heard it before, and I thought that's how democracy works. Definitely not the case in Australia, especially for male. They treat you like a criminal until you're not found innocent. That's right. So yeah, so in the home detention, you need to go. You need to go through random breath tests and drug tests. So then when I was issued a bracelet, ankle monitoring system. I had to do a drug test and alcohol test, um, which I passed. If you don't pass the test, it's a straight away criminal offense. So luckily, yeah, that didn't find anything. I just was 3 days in the jail anyway, so um, so I settled down and found a lawyer next week and start researching about family court. So I started for mediation because you cannot approach family court in Australia without trying mediation first. So you have to obtain a certificate from the mediation firm, for the mediation service, that says that both parties could not reach some sort of decision, or if they reach decision, it has to be certified by court, or there's some options. I'm not gonna go into detail. So I found a lawyer and we started to solve things out, like get permission for me to go back to work. So for you that don't know, if you have an ankle bracelet, if you want a home detention, if you have the monitor device, you need, at least in Australia, I'm not sure about other countries, let me know in the comments. You have to report or prearrange any visitations in anywhere from the original location where you're supposed to be staying. So in that case, my temporary location. So you have to report everything, and it goes through a system. There's some sort of tracking, if you probably get out of the boundary, it's gonna trigger alarm. So whenever I wanted to go visit a lawyer, go to the court, for the work, for the doctors, I had to report everything to authorities. So we had to get from the court permission for me to go back to work. I needed a letter from work that they are fine with it. So the work was notified that I'm under investigation, and I've been actually accused of domestic violence. Um, with that letter was presented to court, they say yes, and the agency is called Correction Services. So they do all the tracking and stuff. So the correction services put me in a system, and then they set up a schedule. So let's say start 7 o'clock. They put in a system that you leave 6 home. So between 6 and 4, you be in that address, in the job address. Because my job involves, sometimes I have to go on installs, I have to go outside of the shop. So I had to arrange with my job that go for the period of time for install. So I was just in a shop. With the ankle monitor, super annoying thing. You have to charge it every night, so you have to plug it in. You cannot take it off your foot or leg, obviously. Ankle. You have to plug the cable in and just, bloody charge. It happened on multiple occasions that it got discharged when I was at work. So I triggered an alarm a couple of times, or they actually do have some sort of monitoring on that, or their side, on the correction services side, they see probably the battery level. So I almost got in. And again, it's if you breach these things, if you don't charge your device, it's straight away criminal offense. Luckily, they were reasonable, and it happened twice. I believe that I just didn't have the charger with me, and it got discharged because somehow unplugged when I was charging it overnight. Uh, I wasn't prosecuted for it, so luckily. But anyway, that took about. I had the monitor for about 3 months. Eventually, 1 month later, after the accusations, because I just tried to get out of my rent because I didn't want to pay rent for the property I can't live in. So I asked my ex-partner if she wants to live there or not, and I canceled. I put myself out of the real estate agreement because we were renting. So I just tried to get out of the agreement. And first she said yes, she's gonna stay there. Then she said no. And we went back and forth. It's just not that simple to get out of agreement if you cannot go to anywhere, without such a headache. And then eventually, 1 month later, she did leave the property, and I could move back in, which you need to go to court and ask if you can move back to the property, and the correction services have to come and inspect the property if it's suitable, and it all has to be arranged. I cannot go there by myself because if I go there by myself, I would be triggering the intervention order because I cannot go within 100 meters of the address. It doesn't say if the person has to be there or not. So she wasn't even living there anymore. I still couldn't go even to the property because the court has to change the intervention order. It was unbelievable. Just going through the processes. I was at a court so often, so much time. And then you have to go to court, you have to organize the bracelet monitor, you have to line it up with a lawyer, they're not free all the time. The court proceedings are just spread out, you can just go to court whenever you want. So unreal. And through all this time, I did not have any contact with my son. The day after I was released, I messaged her. I asked her because the intervention order was issued. So I asked and already read that lots of people try to misuse the intervention orders so they can criminally prosecute you just because you breached somehow the orders. So I just messaged, look, I want to talk to my son and how is he, how he's coping, and there was no reply. So I did not get reply from her. Didn't get word for easy 3 or 4 months straight. I had no information about anything. Zero. So 1 week after the incident, or maybe 2 weeks after the incident, I approached a mediation office. They fill up the forms. They took intake interview. They contact my ex-partner, um, and apparently, what I have emailed that she agreed first to the mediation, and then 1 week after, she changed her mind and said there's not gonna be mediation. So based on that, I was issued a certificate which with I can go and start family court proceedings. So we start family court proceedings. Everything takes ages, and by the time we got there, um, we argued. By the time we got to proceedings, I believe they want us to, or they want me to, I believe, postpone it because I was still obviously investigated by the police. So I was still investigated by police, and I was criminal in their mind in the court. court mine. So they did not want to do much at the first hearing. We'll have to look it up again. I don't remember much really. But anyway, after 3-4 months, I received a message from legal aid in New South Wales stating that my ex-partner got legal aid in New South Wales. So I called up legal aid and I asked him if you have to actually live in New South Wales to be eligible to receive legal aid. A lady on the phone picked up and started questioning me why I'm asking questions like that. I said, look, well, my ex-partner, I don't know what's going on. I don't hear from her, but now I got email that she has a New South Wales legal aid. For those of you who are not in Australia, South Australia and New South Wales are a couple of thousand kilometers apart. It's pretty far. So yeah, big concern. And well, the lady didn't answer any questions, so I just simply assumed that that's the case because each state has their own legal aid agency. If you go on a legal aid New South Wales, it says you have to be a resident to New South Wales. So I assume that's the case. Um, Forwarded the email to my lawyer. Yeah, he got back to me that that's bad news. And we had an urgent hearing in the court, in a family court. And then after that followed all the other hearings in the criminal court as well to change the intervention order. So yeah, it seemed like the South Australian police didn't know or they didn't bother to tell anyone. They knew that she fled. She abducted our son without me knowing, without my consent. She just took the child and moved to New South Wales somehow. She was driven there by a friend or she took a plane, I don't know, doesn't really matter. So yeah, this is straight up kidnapping, abduction. There's no other way to talk about it. There'll be people who'll be arguing that, oh, she was scared and victim and she was afraid of you. But she planned all this stuff. She planned me to react to some setup, you uh, scenario. And that night in 2022, it wasn't first time. It was first time that escalated into something where me defending myself. All the time before she was abusing us, me and my son as well. It did not escalate so that she could not report anything. She was trying to complain to neighbors how horrible person I am and that I don't look after them. Where the neighbors, there's two old ladies and they knew really well that I always go out and play with my son and I cook and clean. I was helping the neighbors as well, so I don't think they believed her. But anyway. So we went to the criminal court, and my lawyer argued that she doesn't live in South Australia anymore. That the intervention order could be can be changed. So it still stated that I cannot leave the state, and I cannot go with near her, but all the other restrictions were taken off. Also, the lawyer managed to get me off the home detention, which was unreal. It's called home detention for a reason. It's like you can be at home. Luckily, I had a house and I had a backyard, so I could go in the backyard and do stuff, you know. But be for 3 straight months, either at your home or at work, which you cannot leave, with an ankle bracelet that discharge often, and going through. There's random phone calls, so they check on your location. Where are you? You know, there's a device. There's a phone with ankle bracelets in your house, which you have to pick up if they call it, and you're supposed to be in a house. If you don't pick it up, criminal conviction. Um, if you want to schedule shopping, you have to go to shops. Um, I'm not sure with other people, but either there was option for 1 day a week for 3 hours, I believe, or I suggested to them if I can have a because one guy take 3 hours for shopping. Well, so I suggested to them if I can go twice a week and have it for 1 hour, you know, because like if you run out of something, if you just forget something, then you can't get to shops for a whole week. So at least I had it twice a week. Sometimes I stop on a petrol station on the way to work, so if I forgot milk, I stop on the servo, you know. But like, yeah, unbelievable. And then you have to go. I had a drug and alcohol test twice, come over, you know, randomly, so you have to be at home for that. Anyway, so I got rid of the ankle bracelet. I got rid of an intervention order, which was life was getting back to reasonable, normal thing, you know. Um, then a couple of weeks after, when we go through the family court, got actually transferred to New South Wales, so South Australia. We argued first when we had a decent hearing. First, we argued that we want her to get relocated back to South Australia because she abducted, obviously, is my son. She should not relocate, and that was dismissed by the family court, and they relocated the hearing to New South Wales. They didn't want to have anything to do with it here in South Australia, and they got us to organize a mediation. In this mediation, we argued to me having phone calls with him over WhatsApp twice a week, which was yeah, I was so anxious on the first one. You know, I haven't seen your child for over 3 months. Who knows? Oh, I can imagine what she's been telling him, but who knows what's his state of mind? You know, what he thinks of you. And so the first phone call, yeah, you could see he was very distressed, and I was very uneasy, upset as well. He was as well. So that was a couple of minutes, and then progressively the second phone call was 10 minutes, and then yeah, it's starting to be. We agreed in mediation for 1 hour, and then eventually the build up to 1 hour. So we were doing activities, and I could talk to him at least twice a week, you know, and see that he's okay. Um, so much better than before. I had no clue if he's what he is, where he is, why, if he's still in the country even, you know. And yeah, then you just wait for court hearings and try to solve things out. In the next family court hearing, in the mediation, we agreed to that me, her, and him undergo family court evaluation psychologist. The psychologist, he had an interview with me, with her, and then with her and the son, and me and son, and he could observe. He stated in his report that she has mental problem. Okay, he stated that she has PTSD, most likely related to her childhood. On that note, she's from single mother parent household, so she did not have a father. Just saying. And she should go and get a professional help, mental health. He also suggested that I'll be given. We will start with supervised visits, and then those supervised visits progressively get to unsupervised visit and me spending time with my son in New South Wales, which was hard for me to agree to, but I did agree for them to stay in New South Wales. We did not fight for her to be relocated back in South Australia, which I regret looking back. But even I think if we fight, I do not believe that the court would get her. Obviously, first thing she did when they got to New South Wales, she found him childcare, then she found him school, signing up for schools, and found all these friends, that she just got from somewhere somehow. I mean, we were living in South Australia for 9 years. Yeah. She got herself enrolled into a course because she wanted to change her life and whatnot. She got herself nice accommodation because she was a victim of domestic violence, which I don't know how they check, but a year later it was proven that she was no victim, she was the perpetrator. And she's still abusing, until today, she's still abusing our son emotionally and psychologically um, through parental alienation. For those of you who have never heard that term, I put a description, I put a definition below. Parental alienation is a nasty thing. Anyway, and so the time progressed. I had a criminal court in January 24. Now it's 25. Now it's September, almost October 25. So I had a criminal court last year. That got postponed a couple of times. It was supposed to be already in July 23. So pretty much 1 year after. And actually, on that note, we did. I wasn't prosecuted. I wasn't prosecuted by her. I was prosecuted by police SA. And we give the evidence, which was the recording of the night, what actually happened. We did give it to them straight away, so they did have the evidence, and they still decided to prosecute me, even it did not line up with the affidavit of my ex, and it was obviously different. And her side of story was different. It did not line up with audio evidence. The audio evidence obviously lined up with mine. We have a saying it's much easier to tell truth than sustain lies or something like that, which is absolutely true. Always is better to get just say the truth, and then you don't have to keep track of lies and making up new things and just backtrack and it's oh or anyway. So we did give it to them. They still decided to prosecute me, and the first proceeding did not happen for reasons I don't remember. Maybe COVID. Somebody had COVID, maybe. Second didn't happen because the prosecution uploaded new affidavit. We were supposed to have a court on Monday trial, and on Friday night they uploaded new affidavit, which has new charges, new accusations. Like I don't know who does that, like 2 days before the trial. So that got adjourned, and then we had a trial in 2 days trial, end of January. Uh, Obviously, the recording being played there. One of the police recordings from the jail, not from the body cam, which got miraculously disappeared. Only that one from the jail where I was interviewed second times and I misspoke. Okay, I did say instead of I was defending myself, as I said when they were interviewing me at the door in a jail, I was just already upset and real mess. And I said something like she attacked me. Oh no, that she made me do it. Like she made me so angry that I had to restrain her, and the prosecution tried to use it against me. And luckily that didn't work because on that video from the cell was also you could hear that I've chosen the wrong word because I said start of one word and then I said something else. So then I was lucky with the judge, no doubts about it. If the judge was different, if it was some nasty feminist judge, she would put me in jail without regards to any evidence. I truly believe it. I was lucky this judge actually did look at evidence, consider it, and he saw that when my ex-partner was telling her part of the story and then she was presented with the evidence, which for some reason she never seen, she wasn't aware of the recording. It was priceless to see her face. She never seen the recording or knew that the recording exists, so it contradicted vastly. The judge questioned her and her side of story, and thanks God, I believe based on that, thanks God, I was found not guilty 2 months later when the judge come out with or give the judgment. Still took 2 months. I was found not guilty, but it was solely just based on the audio recording. If there had not been audio recording, there's no way I would, they would find me guilty, whatever. Does yeah. And now imagine there will be plenty of blogs that don't have evidence. When the shit goes down, you know, you're not gonna record when shit goes down. Even if you record, in some states probably would they would use it against you. And I was really lucky. Actually, even when I got out of the jail, my phone was completely dead, and I completely forgot about any recording. And when I got back, when I got to the accommodation, I realized that actually the app was running, and I was really thinking that it got deleted because the phone just ran out of battery and didn't get saved. Actually, it got saved, and yeah, then I put in my computer, enhanced the audio, and it it confirmed that what I was thinking happened because if we spent 2 days, yeah, 2 full days. One of those days I was in solitary. The second day, half of it I was with some random dude on a cell, shitting in the same toilet. You just and after what actually happened, I was there's so many things was going through my head, and I was just starting to question whatever happened, and yeah. But then when you play the audio back, it actually all clicked back together. And I wasn't making things up in my mind, so it was good. Fast forward, we still in a family court. I went through 1 year of supervised visits. So I flew to Sydney once a month and to see my son for 3 hours. First of all, it was the court got us to organize supervised visits within uh, 3 weeks of issuing the court orders. Like how the court does not know that there is half-year waiting period for supervised visits, and these companies who do supervised visits, they are so overwhelmed that there's just waiting list, and even after the waiting list is still it takes enormous amount of time to undergo things like that. And I was lucky. I called about 5 different companies. First four told me that, yeah, straight up, half-year waiting list, and then after a half-year, you get your intake, meetings and start the process. I was very lucky that I found the fifth one. The company, I'm not gonna advertise the company, even though I had a positive experience, but the company had opened a new office, and they were taking people, so I could get fairly quick within 2-3 weeks, get intake and organize visits and set it up. So again, very lucky with that. And the supervised visits, for those of you who never been through that, as the name suggests, you have a visit with your child under supervision. So I've been just in one agency. I'm pretty sure the other agencies would work the same. So there's some sort of room or playground. There's attendance. So pretty much they observe you. It's like a bloody zoo. They observe you. They're taking notes of what do you say to your child, how do you play, what's the intonation. The child has get issued a safe word just in case they feel threatened or unsafe. And it's fair enough. There's probably need for such a place. I there's lots of bad people, man or woman. So there is need for such a places where if you want to see your child, it has to be under supervision just in case, because again, there's lots of cycles out there. And yeah, I went through the process for 1 year, and then after 1 year, um, I had three unsupervised visits. So it started just on Saturday, Sunday from 10 to 4. So I had three of those. So we organized, pick him up at a train station, and then drop him off in the same spot. We had lots of fun. Go, just go out like father and son, go out, have fun, go kart, bowling. Yeah, and fourth visit, it was supposed to be overnight stay. And on the fourth visit, my son came to me. The stays before they were fine. We were like, he's a sport a little bit now, used to eat everything now. He didn't want to eat. They said that, tacos were eaten even when he wasn't really keen on eating about doesn't matter. Just for me to get him to know what he likes, and no big deal. But on the fourth visit, when I was picking him up on the train station, he came to me and he said, uh, Daddy, I don't want to spend the day with you. I was like, why? Why you don't want to? What's the matter? No, I don't want to say. What's the matter? Tell me. So after questioning him, he said, it's because you hit mommy. I was like, okay, here we go. So I just told him to go back to his mother. I was absolutely devastated. So now she start brainwashing him and start telling him, which is against the court orders. She should not be discussing. It specifically said, do not discuss proceedings or whatever happened with the child. And that's common. Like, who does that? So she started vilifying me in front of him and telling him made up stuff. And that day, I just told him, yeah, just go back to your mom. And I was really upset anyway. Yeah, I just spent most of the day sitting in a park and just against everything was going through your head and this and that. And yeah, just devastated. And pretty much since that day until today, which is exactly was September, was 7th of September. Over more than 1 year, I haven't seen my son. So always when we are supposed to even the next visit 1 month after, so she got him to tell me that he doesn't want to see me. And the message is your son doesn't want to see you. He decided like that. Which is against the court. It's against the court rules. The federal court, family circuit specifically said that even if the child does not want to spend time with the parents, the other parents may have to make sure that the child is going to spend time with the parents. But she just taking law into her own hands. The family court's not gonna enforce anything. They just make excuses. So after the October, in October, my lawyer issued her warning letter, which no, she didn't reply, didn't care. And I approached my lawyer with he can start contravention order, and I've lost lots of money with the court proceedings and family court, and yeah, it cost me fair bit. I did get half back for the criminal proceedings, which didn't cover the family court. So I did get half back for the criminal, which is just ridiculous. But that on the end of the day, I still own my lawyers and the barristers money for a while. I broke even, and then when wanted to start contravention orders, again it would cost me thousands of dollars. I looked into it. Now 2 years of experience with courts. Thought, yeah, I'm gonna do application myself. So I start writing an affidavit and application. And the third version got approved by the court, so they take it in consideration. So I started family court again, beginning of 25, and the family court it was over half a year of stuff happening. In my application, there was over 70 counts of breaching of parenting orders. And the judicial register who was in charge, she said that's too many. You have to reduce it to 10. So because that was already breaching, so every once a month I was supposed to see him. I haven't seen him September. And also prior to that, the phone calls, which is until today, dropped from 1 hour to 1 minute 30 seconds, 2 minutes at the most. Otherwise, he does not want to talk to me. He does not answer any question. He does not want to do any other activities. He just won't get on with whatever it's set up. Fulfill the obligation of having a phone call. It's unreal. And just get over it. Doesn't want to see me, doesn't want to talk to me, doesn't want to tell me how was his day, how was the school, nothing, zero. And this, my friends, that's called parental alienation. So that's when other parents purposely trying to destroy the life of destroy the relationship you have between you and your child. And that is emotional abuse, psychological abuse. And unfortunately, Australian legislation does not recognize such a thing. But we get into that in another video. I want to make just video about parental alienation in Australia. Anyway, the family court is after I uploaded new application with just 10 counts of breach of the parenting orders. They decided we go through mediation again. So we went to mediation. In that mediation, I agreed to family therapy because I don't really see any other way how he would want to see me if he's not forced. Our relationship with me and my son, which was amazing before, now it's just like two strangers, is absolutely destroyed. I think the family therapy is necessary. There must be some psychological evaluation as well, which all happened until already till now. But again, find a therapist, find a psychologist for kids. It's very hard, and most likely they're overwhelmed with the number of kids these days because, and I speculate, there's lots of single mother families, and most of those mothers are probably nutbags. Not all, but pretty good percentage, in my opinion, have some sort of issues which they're gonna pass on to their kids, and therefore there is lots of people looking for therapists and talk about the problem. Doesn't matter if we talk about a problem but nobody going into the root. It's forbidden to discuss the root of the problem if it's on a female side. And I'm gonna finish with a bit more other rants. I forgot actually. When the when I studied the criminal court, they got me to register to go to abuse prevention program. An abuse prevention program is run by Relationship Australia, at least here in SA. And there, it's pretty much every male who's been involved in domestic violence of some sort of aggravated assault, which is domestic violence, has to go through this education program where they remind you how bad person you are and that you have to change. They also tell you that the other person does not need to change because you cannot change other people. You just can change yourself. When I started the program, it's for 24 weeks, I believe. They take your attendance, you have to go there. When I started the program, I asked the person who doing the sign up, I asked them if there's such a program for female, if there's such a program for women that are part of the domestic violence accusations, you know. And I've been told that there is no such a program, at least in South Australia. There's no such a program for female. Later on, they told me that there is program, but it's on one-on-one basis because there's such a small percentage of female that really need it and have a really anger issues. That is on a one-on-one basis, and it's not on a mass scale, like for blokes, you know, because when blokes do it, it's just inherent. Every man is a abusive person. We all have anger issues, and that has to be. We have to be taught how to behave and how to manage these things. So I was very shocked to know that. And just put it in a perspective, here I'm in Adelaide. I've been told there's about four or five other locations, so including the location I've been, and all these locations have about 3 sessions per week on, let's say, 4 locations. That's 12 sessions for whole Adelaide a week. And in these sessions, or at least in my session, There was between 10 to 15 guys, and that runs all year round. I'll have to have a look how much, if I can find how much relationship Australia get out of it. That'd be very interesting. I'll make a video on that if I have some findings. And it's just surreal, you know. And when it was informative. Don't get me wrong. You get to know, but for me it was more like, oh, I've been actually. She was abusive person. I didn't. I thought she just nasty bad woman, you know. But there, you actually realize that you've been abused. But what does it matter on the end of the day? Because female only in rare circumstances can be the perpetrators. You know. They're always the victims. And I will make video on the Royal Commission into family and domestic and sexual violence inquiry, which been released just this month or last month. And on the first page, it says that for the purpose of the report, males are treated as the perpetrators. I will make a video into that and go more into details because there's lots of disturbing stuff I found, and I hadn't read all 600 pages. I just listened to 400. That was if you got this far, if you listen to maybe an hour of my rant, thank you for listening. Please comment where you're listening from. If you have anything nice to say, if you have anything bad to say, just pop it in the comments for me and other people to read. I'll put some links in the descriptions which are related to people I follow on the YouTube, and one to mention is Man Too movement. It's from Bettina Arndt. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. Bettina making really she's been fighting for men's rights for a long time apparently, and I've been following her for more than a year, or maybe pretty much since the beginning of my problems. And she's doing a very good job. She has lots of interviews on her channel, so I put that in the description. Just recently come across Dr. Fiona Girkin from New South Wales. Let's go visit her channel. She has some. Go to her channel and learn more about her. And I'll put some other links in there, like page link for 1 in 3. And it's gonna be probably it. I'll have a bit of holiday now, and I'll start recording next month. People who are interested, if you want to share your story, if you preferably in Australia, if you're in Adelaide, definitely contact me. You can, and if you want to share, mainly, most important, if you want to share your story, contact me. If you just want to tell me your story, I can read it out and make a video out of it. So there's a number of options how to share your stories. If you overseas, and if you other states of New South Wales, other states of Australia, contact me as well if you want to share a story. We can do video, Zoom or whatever, and talk about it. And I'd love to hear people stories that are related to family court and what you've been through, and yeah, all these things. And the whole purpose of this channel is to raise awareness of that not every man is a monster, and we do face injustice. And thank you for watching again. Like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. I'll be mainly active on my X account, which is gonna be linked. I'm not using Insta or TikTok or anything. I'll just do X. It's the #1 social for me that works. And I'll see you with the next video. Thank you very much.